What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betts, and alongside...
I'm the Shaman of Sexy. I'm Jem Morrison.
I'm just going to put out there, that is like the greatest name I've ever heard. Because I don't know Jim Morrison, but I heard that and it blew my mind. This wrestling conversation comes at you every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes, where we deliver you a SmackDown analysis. We break down the feuds, we break down the stories, and we put it all in a cool little show, and we put it in your ear holes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopcultures, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, links in the description below. But if you want to join it as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, Monday nights, 8 p.m., sometimes 8:30, depending on what something I have to do. And Wednesdays, 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., one of the two. We can come and watch the show as it happens. Used to be behind a Patreon paywall. No more. No dollars required. Come and watch the show. But if you do want to support us, you can head over to Patreon at patreon.com/thepopcultures. Couple $1 dues our way. You don't get any rewards. You just get the nice sensation of giving hard-earned money to people that may not deserve it. Like, that's kind of the best thing about it. Or if you want to support us in a more one-off fashion, head over to popcultures.com/shop. We buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And as we said, Twitch right now. We're also on Thursday nights playing the video games. Jem, how has your holiday break been? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I think there was a lot of shit going on towards the end of the year. Just absolute garbage. Obviously, the end of the year is a real sketchy time for wrestling. So taking a few weeks off was really nice. Yeah, I just got to take a step back from wrestling and just reset, and I was actually excited to watch the show this weekend and get back into the whole swing of things. So I'm hyped. How about you? Yeah,
I'm the same. So I managed to at least start most of the shows over the break because I was like, and then I got distracted at some point and fucked off, and then I started wandering around my house. But yeah, I did catch up on at least all the news and everything that needed to happen between now and then and now. Sorry. So we will run through what some of the big things that happened over the break, and we'll kick things off with the Baron Corbin Roman Reigns feud continued. Roman Reigns got doused in fucking dog food like 4 times for some reason. It's still dumb. So that's probably the one big storyline thing that kept happening. But we'll talk about that more in this episode. But big things that happened. We had a handful of returns over the break. After a series of little promos, we see Sheamus make his way in a match between the one of the Revival, I think it may be in Dawson, and Shorty G. He comes into the ring. The Revival split. He bro kicks the living fuck out of Gable's face. It was such a beautiful kick. He looks so good.
Yeah, the Celtic Warrior is a beast, and I feel like his potential was really dampened in the as part of the bar, just because they didn't handle them very well.
Well, now, the bar were one of the strongest tag teams for a little while, but it's one of those things that just got played out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm super excited to see Sheamus back in singles competition because I think that's where he thrives the strongest. I've always, for a very long time, been a huge fan of Sheamus. So I'm just excited. And it seems to be that he's playing, he's playing the bad guy, I guess. Yep. Which I'm also excited about as well because he is his strongest when he's just absolutely demolishing people. And
he did do the same look as his, I think maybe in his debut, big Celtic cross chain. He's got a longer chops and moustache this time. The spiky red hair.
Looking like Beaker again, which I love.
Yeah, but he is jacked. He is so jacked. If I recall, he may have been out on injury, but it was one of those injuries that could have ended his career.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, like, he does have his YouTube channel. You see him working out with different superstars. Learning
I get
workouts
sweaty
and stuff
watching
like
that channel.
I know. So he's an absolute beast of a human being, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring back, especially because it was like he was in competition last week. This week it was just a promo. I love that we're not seeing too much too quickly. That makes me want more.
Dash in the chat says that he needs his old theme back. I like this
I
theme.
couldn't agree more.
I don't know his old theme.
Yeah.
Because although to me, this is the bars music, I guess.
Yeah.
But I
what
dig it.
is.
I like that slow build and that dun, 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 dun. Like I kind of like the back end of it. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty sweet. On top of that, we saw, as we mentioned at the start of the show, I almost said Jim Morrison, but that's the singer for the Doors. John Morrison.
John Morrison.
Johnny Nitro. Johnny Impact.
Johnny Nitro, yeah.
Yeah. Can't be Johnny Wrestling.
back
We
in
already
the
got one of them.
Yep. So Johnny Nitro, originally Johnny Nitro, part of a tag team called M&M. So it was Johnny Nitro, Joey Mercury, and Melina. And then he eventuated into John Morrison. He's just come back from Lucha Underground, where he was Johnny Mundo. So I don't know, like I guess because I did watch a bit of Lucha Underground and I know what his potential is over there, I was very skeptical of his return to the WWE.
So his return was last week. So the Miz had kind of had this break. He was taking on Kofi Kingston, and he took an L and got a bit roughhouse after the bell. Crowd starts chanting "You suck" and turned on him really quickly, and then he kind of sulks off to his dressing room. And then Kayla, I think it was, came knocked on the door. Out comes John Morrison, being like, "Yeah, man, he's not taking calls right now."
Yeah,
Kathy was Kathy. Thank you, Dash.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, this is interesting. Obviously, I am curious where John Morrison fits into this whole thing, which it is addressed during Miz TV. So the show does open with Miz TV. Miz does have.
But we'll get to that. We still got one more return before we jump into the show.
Oh, go on. I thought we were starting. My bad.
The Usos were back.
Touche.
That's right. The Usos came back after 6 months away. Come back with not very good haircuts.
I was gonna say they look real like Three Stooges with that.
Yeah, it's a little bit too short, and it's got that awkwardly cut fringe.
That weird chopped off fringe.
Yeah,
Christ.
It's not too
And
good.
then on the back of their jackets, like this week, they had like their old faces with the long hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah, no, it's like they did answer it. They did an episode of After the Bell with Corey Graves, and they said it was one of those things like we did all our naughty stuff with our long hair, so if we cut it off, it's gone. I'm like, all right, that's a good way to look at it, I suppose, because it's that
new year, new me.
Because they said that they met Alistair. Like, they were chatting to Alistair Black once. They said like a new haircut is a new start or something. Because that seems to be one thing in wrestling.
New year, new me. New year, new me.
But now we can start the show, because that's the thing. SmackDown did start off with a continuation of The Miz and John Morrison. I don't know a lot about John Morrison, Jem, so I'll let you run this first bit.
Yeah. So as mentioned, obviously we know The Miz had a bit of a sulk last week. He came out to apologize, like, I had a bit of a rough week with everything going on with Bray and all that sort of stuff. And he's like, my best friend was there for me, brings John Morrison out. Now, like I said, initially I wasn't sure how Morrison would fit back into the WWE. And then I actually wasn't around. I wasn't watching wrestling when he and The Miz were a tag team. So they show a bit of a highlight reel of that, which I was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense now. And then Kofi comes out. There is a bit of an interruption, and Kofi's like, look, I would have believed you if you had just said, hey, mate, I was having a rough day. But then that piss week apology was just a joke. Like, you're disrespecting me like that.
See, I disagree. I think the apology that The Miz delivered was actually pretty on point.
It felt genuine.
It felt genuine. It felt really good. Like, it was right down the hard cam. That's true. It was right down the hard cam, and it felt from the heart. And he has gone through some shit the last couple of weeks. We've seen it. We've seen it all. So I guess it's understandable, but. Having John Morrison come out with him now and essentially antagonize the crowd, it's probably the best way to go about solving this issue.
Yeah. Well, they've been saying for months, like, when you go into a feud with Bray Wyatt, you come out changed. You go into a feud with a Fiend, whatever. So it definitely seems to me that The Miz is pushing towards bad guy Miz again. on the back of all of that. That's just triggered his like sharp reactions, his bad attitude. Like it's just put him back in that bad state.
Well, it would continue the effect that the Fiend has been having on almost everybody. Like everyone he has faced at this stage has hit a bit of a mean streak.
Yeah, 100%. And then it is mentioned, obviously, like John Morrison is a former 5-time tag team champion, 2 of those times with The Miz. So for me, this begs the question, like, is this the new tag team to take on the New Day? Obviously, we've seen the New Day and the Usos so many times last year. I'm sick of it.
I miss it. I totally miss it, actually.
I guess at the moment, but the minute it happens again, it's going to be off.
Yeah.
Same with the Revival, same whole deal. Like, it happens later in the show, and we'll talk about it then. But I really think that the Miz and Morrison as a tag team could be an amazing and formidable opponent against the New Day, because he doesn't look like it, but John Morrison is very capable, just like Kofi is. Like he's a high flyer. He's very like parkour in that sense.
Yeah, he did that very cool little side flippy jump thing to smush Big E. Yeah. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, so I definitely think that, Miz is more the hard hitter and Morrison is more the high flyer of the tag team. So I definitely think they could be formidable opponents for the New Day.
Well, because in the match he did have, so essentially a rematch between Miz and Kofi, but with Big E ringside and John Morrison ringside.
You're going to keep saying Jim. Just say Morrison.
Oh, next thing, the theme is be Riders on the Storm or something. But, dude, if that's not the name of their tag team, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to be so mad. They're going to call it the Riders on the Storm. No, they have to do it. And only just for me. But... So it was cool to have, like, already, like, they're back a week, and we're already seeing some good tag team work between The Miz and Morrison, with Morrison doing a lot of those ringside distractions, and Big E was essentially playing catch-up. He wasn't really sort of initiating any of the distraction. He was just trying to play blocker to Morrison, pretty much. Max in the chat recommends we should call them Jomo.
Jomo, yeah, I like that.
Jomo works. I like Jomo.
Jomo.
It is popular, especially with prime ministers,
Yeah.
Giving him that name. Although he's very popular right now. Look, I think the potential there is really cool. Having them here, having Jomo now in the tag team, essentially putting Miz back in the tag team, it's very cool. So there's a lot of tag teams in there now. It is one of the big things that AEW wanted to deliver was more tag teams. So they are essentially preparing for their competitor, which is good. Because if we look at what SmackDown has now, so they have the New Day, they have the Revival, they have the Usos are now back.
It's very, very likely that we're going to have Jomo.
We'll have the Jamiz, Jamiz, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just call themselves.
Can we just call them Jizz?
Nah. Yes.
All right, their tag team is now called Jizz. So we've got so a Jizz. I'm sure they'll make a mess of everything. And then
Otis and Tucker,
and heavy machinery. That's a pretty good, that's 5 teams right now. So that kind of there may be more, but that leaves 1 to be champion and the other 4 to fight it out for the next contender, and that's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of heavy machinery, though, that brings us into the next big and possibly my favorite storyline going right now is this Otis and Mandy going on.
Loving.
So over the Christmas break, Otis had Mandy as his secret Santa. No, he had Sammy. I don't know where that.
So Mandy had him as her secret Santa.
That's right.
Yeah, and she felt bad about the ham and what Sammy did, so she got him a new one, and then he got it broke. And then he was like super sorry about it, and she's like, it's fine, whatever. And she hugged him, and then she got sweat all over a cute little pink dress, and she was mad about it. Now, I haven't seen this yet, but I did hear her mention something about Otis bringing his mother's fruitcake. As a way to apologise for getting her dress all sweaty, he brought in his traditional Christmas family fruitcake that his mum makes. So he gave it to her, and she was kind of unsure about it. Dolph Ziggler later came around and took out from Mandy, being like, "Man, what the fuck you talking to him for? I'm the fucking cool guy. You don't have time for fucking fruitcake. Look at this figure. Your figure's exceptional. You don't need to eat fruitcake," and stamps on it. And you can tell that she kind of feels bad pretty instantly because it's very cool. And Dash in the chat just went, "Tucker!"
So.
I love him so much.
Yeah, so then this week... so this week, Sonya and Mandy are in the backstage area getting ready for her match with Alexa Bliss. And Sonya's like, come on, man, let's get out to the ring. She's like, I've just got to do one thing before I go. And she pulls out...
very distracted.
Very distracted. So she pulls out a cake box and then she hunts down Otis to give him the cake box. And she's like, look, I'm really sorry about the cake. Because I feel really bad. I'm sorry for not doing anything at the time or not stopping him. So here's something to say that I'm sorry. Opens it and it's a lovely blue cake. It says "I'm sorry" with a sad face. It's got a little excavator in the corner. It was very sweet.
Yeah, that was cute.
And he's very, very touched.
And all the while, like, Tucker's there, like, forget about it, man. She's not worth it. Rah rah rah. Like. And I was like, oh.
But it's fun. Like, so you've got you've got Tucker on one side, and you've got Sonya on the other side, both being like, "What are you wasting your time for?" And they're like, "No, let's be friends."
Yeah, let's be friends. Which does actually work out to Mandy Rose's benefit because she's having a match with Alexa Bliss, Sonya ringside, Nikki Cross ringside. Otis does come out with a cake with Tucker as a distraction, which allows Mandy to get a roll up and take the win. And thanks to Otis, it really sexily starts eating that cake, by the way.
Oh, and I don't know about you, I was getting hard. Like, I'm like, Otis.
That tongue thing, you sent me the gif of his tongue going, and I was like, oh my God. What is happening
And, like,
here?
Mandy's like a little coy, a little smitten in the ring. She's, like, glancing over and being like, oh,
She's looking at him like, damn, Otis, what that mouth do?
Yeah. And, like, look, there's a couple, like, I think this is, like, the greatest long-form story they've had. This has been going on since about June of last year. Just with all Tucker being like, she's my peach, all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely glorious. I'm loving every second of this. The only thing that could have made this even better in terms of like a good emotional connection for those that give a shit outside of like just outside of the shows, because as we know that Sonya and Mandy have a YouTube channel where they review donuts.
They do.
So how sweet would that have been if she had given him donuts, like as like a even more emotional gift?
I feel like it's going to go the other way and he's going to bring her donuts.
Oh, that's nice. I like this. But yeah, no, this is one of the best things.
This is the best love story we've had in the past 12 months.
I don't know what they're doing over there on Raw with Lashley and Lana and all that bullshit, because this is where it's at. This is the emotional heartstrings of WWE right now.
100%.
How do you see this going? If it doesn't end with them smooching, I'll be sad.
I don't think it's going to be, like, I don't think it's going to end up romantically. I think they're going to come to, like, a we can just be friends type conclusion. But I think it's going to be drawn out for a while and there's going to be a lot of questioning on both sides. I love it, though. I think it's the absolute sweetest because it is a classic case of, like, an unconventional guy with a pretty girl type thing. So it's very, very adorable. I think eventually there will be, like, a mixed, like, a 4-team mixed tag team thing with, like, Heavy Machinery and Fire and Desire and that sort of stuff being involved and then coming out on top and that sort of thing. But then I reckon, like, Sonya and Mandy are a classic heel tag team. So there's guaranteed to be a point where it comes to a head and they just completely screw over Heavy Machinery.
So shout out to Champion Gamer for the follow, and Dash Gamer in the chat jumps in and goes, yes, but it is obvious where this is going. And if it doesn't end in smooches, you know how heartbroken I'm going to be.
There's going to be a kiss at some point.
I want to be some hardcore, like, tongue bashing. Look, if we can get Lana and Lashley just straight up dry humping each other on like, the ramp, that's it. Let's just see the worm, you know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Oh, Christ. Could you imagine? Oh, no.
And Dash jumps in, this is going to end with Sonya turning on Mandy.
You reckon?
And then Mandy joining Heavy Machinery.
That would be
I added that part, but I like that part a lot.
Yeah, I could imagine.
There's not enough factions right now. Wouldn't that
it would be amazing. And not just that, like, I think Sonya is really heavily buried at the moment. So it would make sense for her to break out like that and just be like, I'm going nowhere with you because you're going somewhere with them, so I'm outie.
I think that, like, something like that sounds like could probably happen at the Rumble, as in, like, Sonya's the one to eliminate her and trying to give her an out.
Yeah.
Dash, because I think it's going to be Sonya's professing her love. What, for Mandy or for Otis? Please tell me it's for Otis.
Mandy.
Oh my God, if there's some love triangle with Otis. Oh my God. She's like, why you can't pay attention to Otis? I love Otis.
That's not going to happen because
I know.
openly gay.
I know. but I want that one.
We can dream.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
True. But no, yeah, Dash does correct and say Mandy in the chat. Yeah, I knew that was where it was going, but I thought Otis would be way more funnier.
Yeah.
What else we got, Jem? What else sort of kicked off this week in the wrestling?
We did have a little bit of an Elias giving us a sing-song regarding the Royal Rumble. This makes me question whether or not Elias is going to play a pivotal part in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe, because we haven't seen him for a while, I feel like he's going to go a long way, especially if they've got him promoting the Rumble like this.
Yeah, the problem with Elias, though, Elias really never gets booked into anything amazing. And I think this is kind of here. So I don't see him doing well or going far. He may, like, if we look at last year, he came out first, but then he was followed by Jeff Jarrett. So it's like, and they had a little sing-off while they were doing whatever. So I don't have I never really have a lot of high hopes for Elias. I'm not a big fan of him as face Elias right now. I liked him. He was kind of just being a butthole to everybody.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where it's going to go for Rumble. Like, it's going to seem like he's on everybody's side to, like, help team up with everybody and get other people out. But then I reckon ultimately he's just going to clean house.
But we do have an abundant... Oh, okay, so you think it's a subversion of expectation sort of thing? Mm-hmm. That's true. He has been away for a while, and maybe he's come... Because he hasn't even really had a match. Like, he had a little throwdown with Drake Maverick for a minute.
Exactly, that's it. But that's all it's been. So I definitely think, like... I hope something good is in store for Elias, because he really has sort of been... Again, he's another one that's just sort of been buried. Well,
yeah, difficulty you have, he never really gets put in any feuds. So, like, okay, let's put it out there. So, who do you think would benefit from some interactions with Elias? Like, who could he hang out with?
You know, I don't know about hanging out with people, but Elias did make mention to Brock Lesnar, and I definitely think that Elias is in a stature to be able to take on Brock Lesnar and be a decent opponent.
Sorry, thank you for so Champion Gamer in the chat says, just a heads up, the link on your bio, the Twitter account isn't connected. That is correct. I forgot that we finally got the Twitter handle removed to just Pop Culturist. There is no longer an AU at the end. I haven't gone onto Twitter and changed it, to Twitch, and changed it. So just do the name of the channel without the AU, and it will totally work for you, mate. Thank you for the heads up. I completely forgot to change it.
Game on, Ryan.
Yep, cool. Both Jess and Dash jumped in the chat there for us. Yeah, cool. Moving on. So, I may have just accidentally deleted my whole notes. Give me 1 sec.
Do you need me to send them back?
No, we're back.
And we're back.
What the hell just happened? Look, because with Mandy Rose and Alexa Bliss, like, all we're seeing is this continuation of this feud for some reason, and I guess it's just because is there like no one else around. And that seems to be going on over here with Lacey Evans and the Sasha Banks Bailey side of things. There was some setup for a Lacey Evans v Sasha match tonight. Lacey comes out. Spoilers, Sasha's not there. She's off making some rap album. Hopefully with her cousin Snoop Dogg. Otherwise, I ain't going to care about it. Like, I don't think her rapping skills probably all that amazing. Yeah, so instead, Bailey's in there being like, nah, mate, she's not coming because you suck. You're a mum or some shit. And
yeah, so this I find this really interesting because, you know, I've listened to After the Bell recently, and I've really there's really this whole new light that's been brought around Lacey Evans, and I am really excited. I think when she was thrust in the title picture earlier last year, it was not time for her. Obviously, at that stage, she had just come up from NXT. They were still on the pre-recorded side of things, so she wasn't ready for that live show type live. I think she's really blossomed into this amazing superstar. Not only is she phenomenal at wrestling, she's gotten really good on the mic. And it is one of those cases that you bring somebody's family into it, you're asking for trouble. And that's all Sasha and Bailey have done. Lacey is just bullshit good now. And I honestly believe that Lacey is in the position to take that title from Bailey. And if she has to go through Sasha Banks to do it, she has to go through Sasha Banks to do it. I'm all for it. What do you think?
Before we jump in and chat about this, I'm just having a look at Champion Gamer's Twitter account here. Twitter account. He's a 2-time award-winning community mental health peer practitioner, professional dungeon master. I'll have a talk to you later, dude. Because it says you're in Melbourne. I need to find out where you're from. Because my job is literally using games as therapy, and we need a new dungeon master.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to you later.
I know Champion Gamer personally, so I can.
Oh, really? Is he this side?
Yes, kind of. Like west side, but not Geelong.
All right, I'm gonna talk to this kid.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what's my stance
Absolutely.
on this? On this.
What's your stance on Lacey Sasha?
This Lacey Sasha thing, I think it's kind of seen its length. I'm wondering where it's going to go. I'm disappointed that it hasn't led to a championship match, but I understand why that's the case. So at this stage in time, like there needs to be growth within Lacey to get her to this part. She had that heel run when she came out from NXT, and she needs to reshape her image to come to be in a place to be won over by the crowd, and by being won over by the crowd, that will lead her lead management and the bookers to get her into that spot. And she's demonstrated.
She has.
Yeah, she totally has, and she's demonstrated her ability to do so. She has got wins over both Sasha, who apparently is more important than the actual championship holder Bailey, who she's also got some wins against. I wouldn't surprise me if we see we may see a match at Rumble. If not, there will certainly be some Lacey Sasha stuff in the Rumble match itself. The problem that I'm having here is I feel that this feud has a lot of it's quite shallow. Like in terms of what they're going for, and the angle that Bailey and Sasha are using to have a get at Lacey is just her being a mum. That's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, as a parent myself, if someone mocked my parenting ability, I'd fucking murder someone. But like, so I understand like they're hitting at a nerve, but it doesn't seem like enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, definitely. I don't know. I think I'm just living for it, just because, like I said, it's been in the last probably 6 months, probably even 4 months, that we've seen this total transformation of Lacey Evans. And I want to see more of her. Like, I really do. I think she's really got something to show and something to prove. And even if it is just the angle of they're attacking her daughter and calling her names and shit like that, and that's what's triggering Lacey. Like, you've got to get under somebody's skin somehow, and that tends to be the story. It's the same with Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. Like, the way that Brock got to Rey was through Dominic. Like, there was no other, but that feud was amazing. So, sure, it is a repeat, and it tends to be a repeat, but it is always the one thing that's going to trigger people is attacking their family. I found it really amazing watching this episode with everybody chanting for Lacey and chanting for Lacey's past as a Marine and stuff like that. That was really friggin' beautiful. Like, that shows that they have a lot of respect for her and the service that she put in and the service that she puts in now as an entertainer. I don't know. I love it. I absolutely love it. I know it's going to be long term because obviously Lacey's going to go through Sasha to get to Bailey first.
But she has.
I love that Bailey. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's but I love that Bailey's also using it seems like we always thought that Sasha was using Bailey, but it definitely feels like Bailey's actually using Sasha as a barrier to protect her title. And I love that angle as well. I love that it's Bailey seems like the weak one that isn't going anywhere, but it definitely seems like Bailey's just going to flip the switch and just be like, I'm in control here and I've been in control the whole time.
Yeah, I see that. Which would be awesome. Because then that gives some depth to Bailey, and I won't be so sick of this whole half-assed I'm a bad girl type thing. No, it'll give her that depth that she needs. It won't just be such shallow you'll shoot because I said so, Yeah, no, I get you. Now, I can't think of a transition, but let's talk BraunStrowman. Get these hands! So I'm wearing my BraunStrowman shirt. I forgot you can't see me.
Definitely.
So BraunStrowman is currently in a bit of a picture right now with Shinsuke Nakamura and the Intercontinental Championship. All I can say is yes! Yeah. Yes!
Yep. 100%. So this week we did see BraunStrowman defeat Shinsuke Nakamura.
Clean! Power slam, motherfucker.
Beautifully clean, yeah. Against all odds with Cesaro and Sammy getting into it as well. Obviously, being that he has defeated the Intercontinental Championship, champion, this puts him in the title picture. My concern is Braun too big for the Intercontinental Championship?
No.
Or do you think this is what they're going to use to make it valid and real again?
There's a couple of things here. So BraunStrowman he has been in the big title picture a number of times. We saw it earlier in the year with when he had the tag team shot with Seth, and he had the eye on the Universal Championship. Last year he had a shot with Brock because he did win the Money in the Bank briefcase 2 years ago. So, there is precedence for him being in that picture, and he's earned his time in that picture. But as it stands right now, it's just not within his eye line, right? So now it's got to go what's more achievable, the mid-card belt. So I think for him to have this is awesome. Because aside from the tag team, which he won with that random kid at WrestleMania that 1 year, he has the Saudi green belt from the Greatest Royal Rumble. He's never really had any other championships that I can recall. Correct me, Chad, if I'm wrong, because it's very possible.
Well, yeah, because he's sabotaged himself every time he's gotten into that picture.
Yeah, but I think he's deserved. I think he's brilliant. He's incredibly over with everybody. His character work is amazing. He's just charming. He's just a cool dude. There's a reason I own his shit.
Everybody wants to see a big old monster among men.
Yeah, and I want to see him with that belt because I think. Because Shinsuke is good. No one can argue that Shinsuke is a good wrestler, period. However, for the mass market, he's not quite there in sort of the appeal or the interest of the populace. The interest is in Braun. Shinsuke is great for those that watch New Japan or know that harder, that strong style, that wrestling. But he doesn't really get to deliver that here in WWE. NXT, he probably gave it a red hot go. But if this title wants to be validated, Braun's got to win. It's got to win. Period. Yeah. And if you look at this right now, so Nakamura is currently in this little. Oh, we're also.
What?
I forgot that all the alerts will still kick in when you were recording. So we just got that nice noise when someone's hosting us. So Champion Gamer just hosted us, and I forgot that it's the noise from Harvey Birdman. It just caught me off guard. I completely forgot about it.
Thanks, Gamer.
So. I forget where I was going with this. Yes, all right. So Shinsuke's currently with Cesaro and Sammy. He's in this weird Three Stooges sort of group. They're not doing much. They're not getting any wins. There's no artists. That's true. There's nothing within that space that is winning for all three of them. So by having them all come out and lose or only win by dirty tactics, it's not proving them to be a good stable, a good trio. It's doing nothing. It's not elevating the title. It's doing none of those things. So Braun has to come in. He has to give them these hands, and he has to come out the winner.
Yeah, and I think it'll happen. When is the question?
Well, that's the thing. So Rumble, he's always been really good at the Rumble. He's always just thrown people out of the, as when it comes time to do said Rumble. Mid-card is allowed in the Rumble? Because I know apart from this year, because spoilers for Raw over the break, Brock Lesnar is now in the Royal Rumble. He's coming in at the number one position because no one is allegedly up to his level.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that something that he's put out there, or is that something that somebody else has
That's Paul Heyman put out there.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Well, you need kickoff show material, so I'm assuming that there's a possibility that it'll be on the kickoff show if that happens. I feel like that's the
Champion Game has put a prediction in the chat. This is more for our Raw chats. This probably will bring this back up. It's Wednesday night, ready for Thursday morning. Brock will be eliminated by the MMA dude, so Cain Velasquez, and that at Mania, that's who we'll see. Yep.
Interesting.
No worries, gamer dude. It's all good. It's all good. It's all wrestling chats, man. So that Braun needs this. What's your stance?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll last, but I definitely think that it is a belt that Braun needs to hold to push him back into that main title picture as well. He's definitely he is the poster child for what the CEO of the company absolutely loves. And I think this is him just stepping back and proving that he's not going to sabotage himself this time. So I'm excited to see it, honestly. But I think it will be a case of it's probably going to be a match where the odds are against him. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's the whole artist collective or whatever they want to call themselves of Cesaro, Sammy, and Shinsuke versus Braun all at the same time.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Give him the damn belt. Put the belt in them hands. Which he did.
Yeah, but I reckon he'll be a full underdog story to take it.
It's what I truly loved as well. At the end of the match here with Shinsuke, he's picked up the belt. He's held it high. And next thing, Sammy's like, yoink! And just runs and just... The speed on Sammy for the maximum yoink was just...
I know. It
was impressive. Let's dive into the continuation of this Roman Reigns King Corbin stuff. The difficulty that I know you're facing here is it's the question of why. Why is this still going?
Yeah, 100%. This is a feud that's been dead in the ass. Now, one thing I did have a laugh at that happened earlier in the night was when John Morrison was saying, I had this big thing planned for Royal Rumble, but I was supposed to come out with all these little Pomeranians. It had to be little dogs because there's only room for one big dog on SmackDown. I had to have a laugh at that, and I just had to bring that up. Anyway, in saying that, moving on to the big dog, I feel like this feud is dead. Mm-hmm. It is so dead. It's to the point now where I predicted Robert Roode coming back today. I was watching the match and I was like, guaranteed Roode's just going to show up. Guaranteed. He can't not. The Usos are there. Roman Reigns is there. King Corbin is there. Dolph Ziggler is there. It's been a month. As we know, Roode was suspended. But they still tried to claim that he was injured. It was made very obvious what had happened. But yeah, it was about that time. I was like, if he doesn't do it this week, he'll do it at the Rumble. But I knew Roode was coming back. It's just predictable now. It is so predictable. And I'm off it. One thing that did get me, though, is King Corbin did put out the challenge of not only of both Roman Reigns and King Corbin in the Royal Rumble match, he also put out the challenge for a match. Or Roman Reigns did the match.
Sorry, my son has also broken in. So...
So I find it interesting that these two guys are going to be competing twice in one night. Mm-hmm. I'm very interested to see how that goes. That caught me off guard, but the whole feud is just, it's a moot point to me. There's no championship in the picture. They're not going for anything. Roman Reigns isn't going for the title of King of the Ring. What is the point in this now?
Yeah, sometimes a feud doesn't need to have a belt in it to make it good or to make it necessary, but
there needs to be something there. Obviously Rusev, Lana, Bobby Lashley, the whole thing is Lana. I feel like we need something there. I really do. I feel like it's just fighting for the sake of fighting, which it can be good, but this isn't a good feud.
Well, because the issue that we have is this feud was the key moment of it was based on who is the locker room leader. I don't fucking care. Why should we care who runs the backstage of WWE? It does not affect us as consumers of the product. Exactly. Whether it's Corbin, whether it's Baron, whether it's Roman, who cares?
Exactly.
In terms of a stake for us to watch, this is a feud that should not be extending into the ring. If these two have beef on that locker room stuff, do it backstage. We ain't got time for this. It's taken up time for anything else. I love Baron Corbin because I think he even though he is crap, he's the crap that is compelling because it makes everyone mad. He has true go away heat, reaction. Yes. And I love it.
The goal is to get a reaction, and he gets that reaction.
Yeah, big time.
He's very good at what he does. But in saying that, obviously with the Usos having this match and stuff tonight, and again the Revival got involved, are we going to get into that loop of the Usos versus the Revival again, and then just have that loop around?
Well, when you've only got 5 teams, you're going to have to. We're going to have to see these things, but.
But last year, obviously, they had that real childish shit with the hot stuff in the underpants and all that sort of stuff. I'm scared that we're going to get that garbage again.
All right, in the chat, we've got Osiris, got good old Chris Conway going, Corbin is a dumpster fire and everyone loves to watch it burn.
Yeah, 100%. It's like a car crash. You can't look away.
And Champion adds, Baron Corbin is the only true heel these days. People boo him. He doesn't like the crowd. Other heels get cheered. Pretty legitimate hate here.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You bang on the money there. Like, he is what we want from the bad guy. You want somebody, you want to hate him.
And it's totally true.
That's what he does
In an industry that there are so many, you know, people within the wrestling fandom that know the ins and outs and the backwards and the backstage, that sort of stuff. So for them, it's like, it's not the same as back in the day where a heel was a heel and a face was a face. But, you know, people like the heel because the heels tend to be more compelling characters.
Yeah.
And WWE tend to write stronger heels. So for that reason, there is a lot more cheering and positive responses towards heels. So it's very good to have someone like Corbin who's doing it as it should be done. You know what I mean? Like, he's delivering what we want. He's delivering the responses that we need. It's absolutely fantastic. And Champion came and just iterated my point. He goes, and more so, WWE cannot make faces. They do, and like like WWE are really good at telling the underdog chase story. Once they get the what they're chasing, it kind of falls flat, and they don't know where to go from there.
It's like. What's the word I'm looking for? Like it's like a good setup but a bad execution. Like,
yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant setup, brilliant start, and then it kind of fizzles and then it ends like a bum.
Yeah, it's just poorly executed. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly, at this point, I'm just bored of it. It's been going on for so long, and I hope that Royal Rumble is just the end of it.
All right.
Well, then we can see, like, I would love to see, like, going forward, I would love to see the Usos and Rudolph in a feud. That would be awesome because that's fresh.
I forgot about Rudolph.
We haven't seen that. Yeah, and that's a good thing. Like, it's fresh, it's new. We hadn't seen that. And then that could be, obviously, we can see the revival on Rudolph Solid as well. And that could bring in, say, I don't know, like, unlikely tag team of Heavy Machinery into the picture. And this brings a whole new spin on things. So, I guess I'm excited about that. But I'm just sick of seeing Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin. Like, I'm at that stage now where, like, sure, it's been awesome having Roman Reigns back, but I am bored of him.
I agree. Let's kick off with the last little storyline that's going on at the moment is the continuation of the Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, and Daniel Bryan. Jem.
Well, we did get a little segment opening, like a little like Firefly Funhouse segment where Bray Wyatt opens by saying that he loves the Fireflies and stuff like that, and he's like, but you know,
it's so brilliant. So the whole promo is about love and how some people aren't deserving of love because of their behaviors or actions that they have done. So he's talking about how he loves the Fireflies, but he doesn't love Daniel Bryan. So my favorite part at the end is like, bye everyone, I love you all. Not you, Daniel Bryan. Don't love
Daniel.
you.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, that's cute. Not you, Daniel. I was just
like, not you, Daniel Bryan. Bye. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so good.
Yeah. In that, he goes on to say that the Fiend, the Fiend does change people, and the Fiend wanted Daniel Bryan to remember, because the Fiend wanted to make him accountable for his actions, because the Fiend doesn't like Daniel Bryan, and the fact that Daniel Bryan is trying to take the Fiend's title, he is very mad, and he's going to hurt Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble. So there's obviously the title match there with Daniel Bryan and the Fiend at Royal Rumble.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So later in the night, Daniel Bryan is approached by Kayla and asked about what he had said, and Daniel Bryan's like, you're right, like, I have come out changed, you know, he wanted to change my appearance, he did, he wanted to change my attitude, he did. He's like, I know who I am now and I know what I'm capable of. I've never forgotten what I've done. What he's mad about is the fact that back then I was able to infiltrate the Wyatt family. And you know, he's mad that I outsmarted him. Which I love because I love long-term storytelling. So the fact that they keep going back to this and touching on this, beautiful.
Yeah.
This is the perfect example of long-term storytelling. Daniel Bryan's like, I do feel changed. Like, I feel like a different person, but I'm bent, not broken. Which was very interesting. And Daniel Bryan's like, I know that there's a weakness in the Fiend, and I will find it, and I will, I'll beat him. And then Rambling Rabbit pops up on the camera, and he's like, hey, like, Daniel Bryan, like, quick, like, you can beat the Fiend, and I know you can, and like, here's his weakness. It's, and then Bray Wyatt stops him before he can say anything. And then later in the show, Daniel Bryan's backstage, and there's a box there, and he opens it, and it is a dead Rambling Rabbit.
The big hunk of his head taken out.
Yep, exactly it. So I love that they're using Rambling Rabbit as like the voice of reason in the Funhouse. I don't know. I'm still, it's been happening every opponent, but it still hits really well. Like it just works. Because it's a great little like mind game there that the Fiend is playing. Do I think Daniel Bryan's going to take the title? No.
Not here.
Not here.
Not now.
I think maybe later, but this is just, it's that build up to Daniel Bryan making his rise to the top again, and I'm excited about it. It is super, super awesome, but I still don't think, I think it'd be too soon if he were to take it at the Rumble. I honestly think that the Fiend is going to have the longest title reign. I reckon it's going to be easily like a year or more.
I think maybe Mania, and this might lead up to a big Mania match, possibly with Daniel Bryan and Bray, the Fiend again. It'll be like the third time we've seen it, but I think it's one of those things like each.
It's not every week, and that's what is compelling.
And each time they do it, it's just chipping a little bit away of the Fiend. It's just Daniel Bryan, like in video games, right? Like you know when you've got a boss and you've got
the boss down.
you've got to chip it down. You won't get it in one go.
It's like stages. You're like your 3 different stages, and you finally get a hang of the first stage, and then you have to go through the second stage, and die a couple of times and get through that second stage to get to the final boss stage and finally defeat them. Definitely.
Because the thing here is like the Fiend is really cool. The difficulty that we're facing in terms of where this can go is once the Fiend's weakness is exposed, then what?
Yeah.
Because once everybody knows that weakness, that instantly breaks this facade, like this mask, this pedestal of image that is the Fiend.
Yeah.
So if he does lose, what happens to the Fiend?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to propel Daniel Bryan, which is fantastic, but it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah. Do you think the Fiend will lose, or do you think Bray Wyatt himself will lose?
The Fiend. Like this is building to the Fiend. Bray Wyatt won't have a match in the same way. Like the one with the Miz was a thing, but it didn't quite do what the Fiend could do.
Yeah, look, I think it was cool.
Yeah.
I think it was really cool the way they portrayed it and the way it finally just snapped. And I think it's awesome that we are seeing a bit of Bray Wyatt outside of the Funhouse. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like my question is like, would it be a case of like Bray drops the title, or are we going to watch the Fiend get defeated? I think the Fiend is such a strong character, like Finn Balor's demon was. So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, so because the thing is, he's a horror movie villain. That's what he is. That's his shtick, right? So every time you watch a horror movie and they get to the big bad and they take him out, he always finds a way back. So, like, although I'm being sort of a bit like hyperbolic, like it's gonna be it's gonna crumble once he loses it. Like, I'm sure they'll find a way to keep him going. It's just kind of like where's the push after he loses it? Does he go back for the belt? Does he go in hiding for a little while and then come back out later? There's a lot of things that are interesting. But Daniel Bryan and the Fiend, I'm very excited for. I'm really enjoying face Daniel Bryan. I'm liking this because I think what's going on right now is a facade. Daniel Bryan is not as all together as he's claiming to be. He's claiming to be bent. I think he is broken. But he is holding face. The reasons yet I haven't quite worked out or figured them out, but I think he's holding together for a point, and then he will erupt at some stage.
Yeah.
But anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode of The Young and the Wrestlers. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us live. Because as we said, we have this live now. If you listen to the podcast, you made your way through and you didn't hear it at the start, you can actually come and join the show as it happens. It is good fun. Chris in the chat goes, a super crazy thing I'd like to see would be to see Daniel Bryan and The Fiend split from Bray. That would be really cool. Because I think we pitched this idea, right? So what would happen if, you imagine Bray Wyatt's in the ring and next thing The Fiend's on the ramp.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be a cool shot. And you'd be like, how is this going? How is this working? How does this line up? How does this all come together? I think that would be absolutely amazing.
Very interesting.
But this SmackDown analysis conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on your YouTubes. If you want to join that rest... Yes, buddy. So my son's watching things on the iPad. It's PJ Masks. It's Romeo. And it's Catboy and Gecko and Owlet. That's very cool. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to Facebook. Yes, buddy. Can you give me Can you give me like a minute? Give me 1 minute. Why are they fighting like Doomsday? It's one of those weird action figure channels where like, people make stories.
And this is now a PJ Masks podcast.
Yeah, apparently it is. But yeah, so this, if you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/popculturist, Twitter, with the correct link. I'll fix that, champion. Thank you very much. Discord, Instagram, all the things, links in the description below. If you want to join the competition as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist on a Monday night, 8 p.m. You can come and watch us do the show as it happens. It used to be a Patreon reward, but is no longer. No paywall. Come and enjoy us chat. But if you do want to support us financially, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. A bunch of different tiers there. Find the one that best suits you. Or if you want to support us in a one-star fashion, head over to popculturist.com/shopping, buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And outside of Twitch, when we do podcasts, we do also stream games every Thursday night, 8 p.m. as well. A big thank you, Jem. It's good to be back after the break.
It's so good to be back.
Yeah, that's right. So join us live on Twitch Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. for our Raw analysis. Or as it's written on my calendar, Raw Anal. Makes me laugh every time. Then with the episode...
Every time.
With the episode releasing Thursday morning and on your podcast services at the same time. But until then, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.